what was your state of mind when you transitioned from the PC to the Mac?
I was a bit apprehensive about if I can get familiar fast enough with the way the controls work and everything. But from the first moment that I used it, I was very happy. And this was 2 years ago, or maybe even longer than 2 years ago. And yeah, it's great. I love it.
Welcome to Macpreneur, the show for seasoned solopreneurs looking to streamline their business on a Mac. Unlock the secrets to saving time and money with your host and technology mentor, Damien Schroers.
Hello. Today I have the pleasure to introduce Vincent Gressieker. Vincent is an independent business advisor and consultant from Germany. He has more than 20 years experience in business, working as a consultant, executive, and entrepreneur. He helps his clients scale their business to the next stage of growth. Vincent published the book Work Like a Warrior in early 2024. The aim of the book is to enable individuals to be more satisfied and successful in any organization. This leads to better company results and greater economic value for society as a whole. He has launched his public speaking career at Main Valley University this year. He lives in Berlin, has 2 teenage kids, and is a Burning Man enthusiast. Vincent, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here.
I think you're the first guest who is very close to where I live in Luxembourg.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm happy to also have this European perspective from time to time.
I've also been to Luxembourg even once.
Very good. So let's start with your current setup. Which Mac do you have now to run your business?
Yes. I work with a MacBook Air M1 from 2020. OS is Sonoma. The main other, I would say, components I work with, of course, are these AirPod Max, and I have an iPhone 13. And these are the 3 primary elements, the 3 primary things that I spend a lot of time working with.
Mm-hmm. So do you use it with only that screen, the built-in screen, or do you have an external monitor?
I have also an external monitor, that I use here in my home office with an adapter and a bunch of other stuff connected to it. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And so you're using both screens at the same time?
Yes, I do. But the other monitor is it's not an Apple brand, some generic thing. I don't even know. I forgot what it was. Fujitsu maybe or something.
Yeah. I'm currently recording this episode on a 27-inch iMac, the last Intel model that they released. Mm-hmm. I have a MacBook Pro and it's the 14-inch, but every time I work on the MacBook Pro, I feel constrained. And so I wouldn't, if I were to only have a laptop, I'm sure I would have a secondary screen as well.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. That's really necessary. Yeah, I think the only issue I have at the moment is with my hard drive. I think the next time I get something, I need a bigger hard drive. I have 250 gigs, and I always have to clean it up. And I've been starting to get into content creation now as well, around YouTube videos and other stuff. So that takes a lot of memory. So I have to constantly shift things between the different elements. But other than that, I've been so happy with this for the last 2 years. It's been really perfect for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of unfortunately, the drawbacks of the Apple Silicon era is that because the hard drive is actually soldered to the motherboard, it's not possible to change it afterwards. Mm-hmm. And so there are actually only 2 solutions to the lack of storage problem. Solution number 1 is to buy a new Mac with more storage. But solution number 2, which is a little bit a kludge, I recognize it, but it's possible to boot a Mac from an external drive, from an external SSD. Mm-hmm. And so it's possible to buy, let's say, a 1 terabyte SSD. Mm-hmm. It's possible to clone the internal hard drive of the Mac onto the external SSD, and then tell the computer that whenever it boots up, it needs to boot from the external SSD.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. And this solution I didn't use it for the lack of space. I use it for my very old iMac, my second iMac 2014, which didn't have an SSD. There's a Fusion drive, and it became so slow. And rather than buy a new computer, I actually booted from the external SSD, which made the Mac actually run much faster.
Interesting.
And that helped me for a few years before I bought a new one.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting because so far, I'm still just really happy with the MacBook, and I was recommended this by a friend of mine at the time when I made the switch. This was my first Apple laptop. Before that, I've been working only with Microsoft products or with PC products basically. And at the time when I reached out to him for advice whether I should take the leap and go that way. He said, well, if you get this, if you buy this, you're gonna have a good time for many years, and you don't need to worry about replacing it very, very soon. And now I had some of these old external hard drives that are just easily formatted. I'm really not an expert about any kind of technical stuff, but with the formatting, I mean, that was easy. And now I'm just shifting things onto the hard drive, and that's I think it's almost like a terabyte. So there's a lot of space for all these things. That's the crutch that I'm using at the moment, but that's okay.
So yeah, let's talk about that transition from the PC to the Mac. So you were recommended a Mac. Did you have any fear, or what was your state of mind when you transitioned from the PC to the Mac?
Yeah. So since I had been working with PCs my whole professional life, I was in a big consulting company for 15 years, and exclusively there's always PC laptops. And only that friend I knew that he was a huge fan of Apple, and he's much more technically proficient. So he even at the time bought his own Apple laptop many years ago, and it was even able to run the company software, everything onto on the laptop, which probably wasn't company policy, but he did it anyway. And anyway, he's always been a huge fan. I started becoming very interested when the iPhone arrived. That was in 2007, of course, and also through him, because he was so excited about it, and I was totally hooked. So I've been on iPhone since then. But I did actually have some kind of, I would say, apprehension. That's why I reached out to him. But the point why I was actually reaching out to him was that I was so seriously annoyed with the latest laptop that I bought, which was actually the first one I bought after leaving the big company and becoming self-employed. I founded a company and a second one, and I was working as a consultant as well. So I just bought this Dell laptop, and there was already a lot of frustration with the whole Microsoft, what do you call it, like this suite of solutions, and this whole move into the cloud. And there was a lot of difficulties getting everything to work with Teams and the access and the logins, and that was really annoying. And then, well, at some point, the laptop actually just simply broke. So there seemed like a hardware failure or something. Hard drive failure. So and that was just the last straw. And I'm not the type of person to then try and fix it, and I don't want to run somewhere and have it looked at and checked out, and I don't have patience for that. So that was the pain at that moment. Thing. Okay, so what do? Do I go through that again and go down that route, or do I do something completely different? I did. Yeah, I was a bit apprehensive about if I can get familiar fast enough with the way the controls work and everything. But from the first moment that I used it, I was very happy. And this was 2 years ago, or maybe even longer than 2 years ago. And yeah, it's great. I love it.
Very good. And yeah, so which now type of applications do you use for your consulting business?
Yeah, so I use, it's interesting. So I do actually have the Microsoft software like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. But there's already a shift. There's I would say two shifts happening in terms of the way I use even apps, because I don't even use that many apps, like actual Mac apps yet. We'll see how it goes. So there's apart from Safari, there's actually not that much. because there's a lot of stuff that's happening just in the cloud, right? There's just all these different sites and applications that run, for example, all the Google Suite type things. So, for example, my first consulting engagement 2 years ago, or that was actually the second one, but it was a really long one, almost a year. And there I was accessing my clients' applications simply through Chrome, and I would just access all the Slack and Google Docs and all that kind of stuff, and everything was running through that. So I had no need to use anything else. I was used to PowerPoint, so I just kept on PowerPoint. I've never made the transition to what's it called? I have it even here, Keynote. I haven't done that. And now something interesting is happening. Now you can create presentations with AI. So I've started using Gamma.ai. So again, at the moment, not really a need to move to Keynote. So that's the current state of affairs, I would say, here on my setup.
Yeah, with the rise of cloud and software as a service, the difference or the drawbacks of having a Mac compared to a PC has almost vanished, because almost everything runs using a browser. And then on the flip side, because everything runs on a browser, it's not very easy sometimes to be productive, because you end up with tens or dozens or hundreds of tabs opened in the browser.
I would never do that. No, just kidding. Yeah. No,
yeah, I'm guilty.
Guilty.
I have two browsers. I have one Safari browser that when I close it and reopen it, it keeps everything that I had before. And I have another browser, it cleans everything, and I always start fresh.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But did you know that with Safari on Sonoma, well, actually, it's I think it's a Sonoma minimum. You can turn a website into a Mac app. So let's say that you visit Slack a lot, or you visit Discord, or you have a Gamma.ai, for instance. I don't think that does Gamma.ai have a dedicated app for the Mac?
I don't know.
But well,
I could check.
If you open the website via Safari on your Mac, you can save it as an app. It will use the favicon as the app icon, and the icon will show in the dock. And you can then click on the dock, and it will open. It's like a mini Safari window, but independent from Safari. So you're not obliged to have Safari opened. You can just launch Gamma.ai as a separate app.
I've seen this actually at Mindvalley. Mindvalley is this. It's mostly a online community for, I would say, personal growth topics in all respects. And I was there at the live session. They do several events every year where you come together physically. And let me just grab my phone. They had something like this when you attend the event. That at some point there were just a few steps, and you actually download. Like it looks like an app, and it just says Mindvalley University, and then. It was basically the main point was to have the agenda, but then also because it's a co-creation space where you can, during the time that everyone comes together, there for a week or up to 3 weeks, you can set up your own events. They are sort of checked, for whether it actually fits into the whole idea, but very, very pragmatically. And then you have your own events, and as you or me or whoever else has something to talk about or to offer, you can enter it into the thing, and then everybody can see it, and it looks looks like an app, of course. Yeah, you have it on your home screen. So
we've had that on the iPhone and the iPad for a while now, but on the Mac it's only since Sonoma that we have this as a feature with Safari. Because I'm still on Ventura, I cannot use that functionality on my Mac. So I'm using a paid tool. Or it's actually a freemium tool. So there is a free version with limitations, but I've paid for it because it's so useful for me. It's called Web Catalog. And with Web Catalog, you can not only convert a website into an app, but you can actually create a mini app that has multiple websites to which you connect to. And so, because I'm part of the BNI here in Luxembourg, I have my BNI app with a bunch of little tabs, each being a separate website. I have one called Social Time. So I have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, what else? Discord. So I have a bunch of social media apps, and this is just one big window that I fire up, and then I can. There is a left sidebar if you want, and on the sidebar I can see the icon of the service, and yeah, it's really great because it helps me at least to be focused on a task. Right? When I want to do BNI stuff, I'm not bothered with any other tabs or any browser or anything. I just fire up that app, quote unquote. I do what I need to do. I actually have we have a Gmail account for BNI in Luxembourg. And so when I need to do and consult the Gmail account, it is through my BNI app. When I close that app, I don't see any email. I don't have pop-ups, notifications. It's when I decide to do BNI stuff, I see it. When I don't, it's out of the way.
This is what I talk about in my book as well. And this is on the level and connecting to what you asked earlier, whether I was kind of like afraid of like doing it. But if it's something like this makes it easier, that you are aligned with what you're trying to do, that makes it easier because you know exactly like how you bundle it, how you access it, and you have that thing you want to do. It makes it easier, and this is why I'm convinced why the Apple Sphere and with these kind of ideas is so much better integrated within itself than, of course, this more open PC world. I think this is, for me at least, it's a huge win. There's another thing actually that I find very refreshing and I don't know if that's just a wishful thinking, but it seems to me that I don't have any problems with viruses or anything, right? So it appears to be still better secured than the whole PC world. Maybe it's an illusion, but it definitely seems to me that way.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of two things. I think that the platform in macOS is stronger against viruses or cyber attacks naturally, but also at the same time, it is so low in terms of market share, right? It's 10% or less than 10% globally. So obviously, the bad guys, they will go right to 90% of the population. And so I'm listening to a podcast called Security Now, and the host, Steve Gibson, has a nice analogy to security. He says that security is porous. So it's not that it's an on-off switch, or it's not it's secure or insecure. It's just the more pressure you put onto something, the more chances something will get through. Okay, so let's go to the next section of the show. Do you have a tip or a trick that you discovered recently on your Mac?
Maybe just a general piece of advice, because I've been switching a lot between different other components. So I have a webcam, I have this microphone, I have some other things that I'm using. I have a little DJ controller because in my free time I like to play music and DJ. And it's been, when I first started doing it, I assumed that everything always works like plug and play, but you use the old USB files as a connector. Anyway, what I've learned through experience is just always you find the setup, how to change the different technologies. You're always at the top, of course, of the screen, and you need to find the right just the right selection box here to connect all these different things. So when you're working with several of these things, don't despair if it's not working. Just look in there and you will find the setup. And as an example, with this microphone, I bought it, and then it worked on this one app, and then after that it didn't work anymore, and it wasn't even recognized, or not, I couldn't even find it anymore. And then I figured it out that I go into these, just go in there and look for it, and then it's there. So it's maybe not a great tip, but anyway, for me, who uses a lot of different components, it was just valuable to orient myself always to that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called Control Center, and it's in the top right corner in the menu bar. And I don't remember exactly with which version of macOS it came, but yeah, it's again the unification of macOS and iOS and iPadOS. And so now we have on the Mac something that's very familiar to people who actually, they started with an iPhone and an iPad. Now they are on a Mac. As you said, you click there and you see everything that you need to know about. And maybe if I can add a small tip on top of that, is that, for instance, we have in that control center, like the sound area or the display area. Well, actually, you can drag and drop it. So if you want the sound to be in the menu bar at all times and not need to click all the time on control center, you just drag and drop the sound onto the menu bar, and then you will have the sound icon there permanently.
Okay.
So there are a few things like that you can display. You can drag and drop display, and it will be then on the menu bar.
Yeah. Where do you get your tips about these kind of things?
Well, I follow a bunch of blogs, and I listen to other Mac podcasts. So to name a few, Mac Power Users and Mac Break Weekly, and usually these are long podcasts compared to Macpreneur. It's like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hour episodes. But I listen to that at 1.7 speed, and and yeah, there's always a golden nugget at one point in these kinds of episodes. And and in terms of blogs, I follow Apple Insider and I follow Mac Rumors. These are the main ones.
I just remembered actually something that I use a lot is AirDrop, because I move many things between the phone and the MacBook, and also for notes, because for example, as I started creating now content like videos, short videos, longer videos, I work with ChatGPT, I work with my notepad, so that I streamline the whole process from the idea what I want to talk about until I can actually post that video. Because there's so many different things that need to happen in the meantime. And that makes it, of course, a lot easier sometimes to move the text and move the different things from when I work on the laptop, on the MacBook to the iPhone. And then, of course, the different videos as well, right? So I can move them, I can save them, and then I have free space again on the phone. Yeah. So AirDrop is a big thing.
Yeah. So we're almost at the end of the show. Now comes the question: if you were in charge of the Mac division at Apple, what would be your first priority?
So I've been using content creation apps, and I think there's an opportunity here to maybe integrate different things on the Mac. Maybe it's already there, but I don't know about it. But I think there's a potential of integrating several apps now to create maybe either presentations or through with the help of AI, or videos as well, or like these short videos, because there's still a lot of different steps that you need to go through. So I think this would be something that would be really cool as a thing that you could do. Yeah, just integrating these different things together, and more from I would say like the point of view of an end result. There's so much happening. There's also websites where you can have even AI videos created, but there's still a gap of making it specific to what you want. So that would be something to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope that Apple will go in that direction with their Apple Intelligence features. So at the moment, it's mostly text, rewriting or summarizing or changing the tone or stuff like that, or it's image generation, but they haven't yet announced anything regarding videos. So I think they are a bit behind compared to Adobe, for instance, where with Adobe video tools using AI, they can extend the video in length, but they can also extend actually the aspect ratio of a video or an image. And yeah, like you, I suspect or I hope that Apple will work on that and start integrating generative AI features for that.
Yeah. It's also the old issue which I've tried to explore is also how do you have something where you can post a certain video immediately to several platforms. And I've experimented with Buffer. Didn't really work that well. Maybe I did something wrong. I don't know. I don't want to make it seem like a bad option. Maybe it's the best one. I don't know. But from what I've heard so far is that there's still it seems to be a lot of integration issues, a lot of technical issues that makes it more difficult. But it would be quite the game changer of saying like, well, I can actually have this app where I connect the different other apps to it, like YouTube, like TikTok, like Rumble. Yeah, there's all kinds of ones, and that would be an amazing thing. Yeah, because it's at the moment it's still that you can accelerate so much now. Yeah, and I work with CapCut so far. That's fine, and it's quite impressive actually because it makes automatic subtitles. It recognizes gaps in the video, so the editing process is so much faster. It's really huge. So that would be, but why not have that also as a Mac app as well, and maybe even better integrated? Because this is of course aimed towards TikTok, but if you want to have other apps, then there's a chance to create something which works just as well, but maybe in a different niche and with other apps as well.
Yeah, the issue here is there's not only technical hurdles, but there are also platform hurdles in the sense that each platform wants people to post natively, right? They absolutely hate tools like Buffer. And so they know, right? And I've used Buffer for a long, long time, and I stopped using Buffer because not because it didn't work, but because I didn't have the reach. Because each platform knew that I had scheduled it with Buffer, right?
Right.
And that's in the end the reason why I don't think it is a solvable problem, in the sense that I think we will have to live with the burden of at least hitting publish manually on each platform, because that's what they want, right? And
yeah,
and I realize even with LinkedIn, when I publish with LinkedIn, I've stopped scheduling the teaser for the episode, because if I schedule it, they know that it's scheduled, and they know that I'm not, and also they know if I'm connected or not on the platform. And if I'm not connected on the platform when the thing is scheduled, it will also have less reach than if I am live on the platform when the post is submitted. And what I do now is I do that usually either noontime or in the end of the afternoon. I manually publish the post, and then within a few minutes, I put as a first comment the URL to the blog post, so that they know that I'm there. I'm a human, and there is a human behind that, right? It has not been automated, even with their scheduling platform. And the only thing that I see that could help somehow would be a tool like Zapier or Make.com. but only if we are able to create a draft, right? So do maybe 90% of the job through automation, but then manually go on each platform, tweak a few things, because again, each platform they have their own rules, right? So LinkedIn, what I learned is maximum 5 hashtags. If you have more than 5 hashtags, you will be penalized. There are other platforms, you can put as many hashtags as you want. With LinkedIn, no URL in the post. A URL can be put as a comment, but not in the post. Again, it will be deprioritized if you have a URL in the post. So each platform has so many specificities with regard to having reach that anyway, we cannot take the same thing and post it everywhere. We won't have the engagement or the results or the reach that we expect. Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's great advice. Thank you for that. I did not know that. I will certainly try that out.
Yeah. And for Instagram and Facebook, that I managed to do in batch for both of them using a Meta Business Suite. So Meta Business Suite on the computer. So I cannot do that on my smartphone. I need to do it from the Mac. And so I access Meta Business Suite from the desktop. I have a Meta app with Web Catalog. So I fire up that app. I go to Meta Business Suite, and it's possible then to post a reel or to post a reel so that it gets pushed on both Instagram and Facebook at the same time. And you can even tick a box so that it also appears as a story. I don't remember. I think it's for both as well.
So it's a reel, it's a story, and it goes on Facebook as well.
Exactly. And so I've connected. So I've connected the Macpreneur Facebook page to the Macpreneur Instagram account. So both accounts are linked. And that's why I just click on one button, create reel. Both accounts are selected. I upload the teaser video, some text, and what do I do? Yeah, I choose the thumbnail.
That's through the Meta Business Suite.
Yes, and it's through Meta Business Suite. Yeah, that you can do both at the same time.
Okay, interesting. Because I upload. I use it as a reel in Instagram, or what do you call it? Not reel, the other one.
Yeah, it's a reel.
It's a reel.
It's a reel, yeah.
Yeah, and then it just it has the button whether it should also be shared on Facebook. So I just leave it on, and it automatically gets shared to Facebook. But I don't know what's better.
Okay, very good. So we're almost at the end of the show. Where can people find you, Vincent?
So people can find me on LinkedIn under my real name, of course, Vincent Gressieker. That is for my consulting and advisory business, the key go-to place. And I specialize I'm an integrator. So it's all about process integration, systems integration. A lot of companies, when they're growing, they vertically optimize. And then you have, let's say, sales, operations, finance becoming more complex and more people joining and more experts. But this is not really the game changer. If you really want to, grow successfully, you need to integrate horizontally. So this is what I specialize in companies from, let's say, about 10 million revenue to about 500 million revenue. So this is my consulting business. So if anyone here, has this as a challenge or knows someone, then of course reach out to me. Happy to help. And I've been also building content on YouTube. So that's the next one. I have a YouTube channel, and again, it's under my real name as well, where I'm posting some short videos, but also longer videos now about these, I would say, very almost internal issues around integration processes, end-to-end processes like order to cash. Also, the correct, I would say, operating model between IT and the corporate functions like finance and operations. It's a huge thing. So if someone has challenges there, then they can take a look there or reach out to me. Finally, I'm also on TikTok, but this is like a really broader audience where it's more focused about leadership topics and my book. Work Like a Warrior. You can find this on Amazon as either ebook or physical hardcover. So you can find that on Amazon. And last but not least, Instagram and Facebook as well. This is again for a wider and broader audience. This is more around how to overcome the limitations of your ego to become more happy and successful. Because there's a lot of things that is holding us back. A lot of anxieties, a lot of self-image that's usually wrong in most cases. And in my book, I take people through my personal journey of this, which had also a lot of challenges of burnout and some failed marriage and also some work type situations. And I basically summarized these different elements that are really essential to look out for when you're working in an organization, that you can see through what's in front of you and can get a safe, or a good distance, and then act in a better way so that it's actually, it's not just better for the company, but it's actually better for you as well. And you're going to be more successful and happy on this.
Yeah, thank you. I will put all the links in the show notes so you can reach Vincent. So Vincent, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And so if, like Vincent, you would like to share how you are using your Mac to run your solopreneur business, it's very simple. Just visit macpreneur.com/apply. If you are already on Podmatch, just click on the button and you will land on the show profile. Otherwise, just fill the application form and I will get back to you within a few days. Once again, it's macpreneur.com/apply. In the comments below, please share your main takeaway from this episode. And if not done yet, please subscribe to my channel so you will get more helpful tips on how to run your business on your Mac. And until next time, I'm Damien Schreurs, wishing you a great day.
Thank you for watching the Macpreneur podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave a comment and share it with a friend right now.